key challenges for banking identification methods in 2027. Big round of applause for Jakub Čumpelík from Monet Plus.
Thank you, and good afternoon, dzień dobry. My name is Jakub Čumpelík, and I'm from a Czech company, Monet Plus, and I will today focus, unlike my predecessors, I will focus on key challenges, but for bank identity methods in 2027, but from the practical side. My presentation will be divided into three parts. I will start firstly about my context and why I'm here. Secondly, we will get into the legislation, and in the last part, I have prepared three case studies that we have encountered in the market in the last months. So, yeah, perfect. About Monet. We are, as I mentioned, we are a Czech company. We are on the market for 30 years this year, and let's say that we are in 30 countries all over the world, and we are a company of more than 300 people. If we were to divide Monet Plus into two parts, we could, because the whole company is divided into a group of people who take care of digital payments, and the second one who takes care of digital identity, which I'm obviously representing here today. Within the digital identity, we have 5 main solutions that we support. One of them is for protecting the identity of employees. The second one is focused on more banking and insurance companies with the customers, with protecting the customer's identity. Then we have a group of people who take care of the digital identity on national level and with the governments. With that, we have also specialized team for electronic signature. And lastly, we do have our own team who helps us with, or helps our customers with PKI, public infrastructure, certificates, and so on. Being a company that focuses on digital identity in banks and insurance companies means that we have to take care and really pay attention to new legislation upcoming. For the purposes of this presentation, I have picked three main legislations that are going to be challenged in 2027. I hope you will forgive me because there are actually 4, but for the purposes of this presentation, I have included PSD3 and PSR together, and I will take them as one. So I have cherry-picked some facts that will impact the banks and financial institutions. And there are 3 legislations, as I mentioned. First one is AMLR, second one is EIDAS2, and the last one is PSD3 and PSR. With the AMLR, the banks, insurance companies, financial institutions are actually required to maintain the records of the customers for 5 years. And at the same time, since the data has to be some sort of verified and of some level, they could use the UD wallet, but as you probably all know, the usage of UD wallet is mandatory for customers, required for financial institutions, mandatory for customers. The similar problem comes with the UD wallet itself, because the banks and financial institutions have to accept the European Digital Identity Wallet in terms of strong customer authentication onboarding, but they cannot force the customers to have the UD wallet as the only means of strong customer authentication. And to make things even more complicated, there is the PSR, which requires that banks offer customers an alternative strong customer authentication method, because banks cannot force customers to use the smartphone only. So there are 3 main legislations that are going to impact the management of digital identity in banks. Hopefully there are not more things that they have in common. Unfortunately, there is one thing they have in common. And as the name of my presentation suggests, it's the timeline. All 3 legislations are becoming directly applicable in 2027. All of them will have to be accepted by the financial institutions in sometime in 2027. Obviously, those legislations come with the challenge, with some sort of practical challenge, meaning that, of course, there is a requirement that the AMLR says you need to obtain the information from the customer. But how to do that with maximum comfort? With eIDAS 2, and it has been mentioned here a couple of times, how to actually connect to the whole ecosystem of 27 plus identity wallets. And with the PSR, what are the alternatives that banks will have to offer to the customers? And I believe now is the time for the case studies and solutions to them, because we have been around the market in last months, and these are the things that are from real life, and you could see how what the customer wanted and how we reacted to that. So let's start with the European Digital Identity Wallet. For the context, the bank understood, or the customer understood, that there is a requirement to connect to the whole UDIF ecosystem. But the question was here, do we need a specialized gateway or a connector to connect to those, or can we do it ourselves? Obviously, me being the salesman here, I suggested, of course, use us. But the question posed here was, okay, but we could probably do it alone. From our own experience, since we have delivered multiple identity provider platforms to multiple Czech banks, we say, okay, you will probably skip some sort of implementation costs, but there are hidden costs behind it. Because you have to look at each UD wallet as a new identity provider. And you will have to sort of maintain the connection, even when the new wallet comes. And from our experience, what we took a look back and we said, okay, so what does it cost to maintain an identity provider in bank? And we came to that you need almost 2 people just to maintain the platform implemented there. Now imagine that you will develop yourself the connection to each of the wallets, and you will bear all the responsibility. So what happens is that you need actually 2 more people on your side just to maintain the connection. And I'm not talking about the responsibility that's hidden there. So what do? You will have to probably hire new people or reallocate people from some sort of from your business. So instead of that, we suggest, look, it doesn't have to be necessarily Monet, but look for somebody who already has the connector. So, and from our business perspective, we took a look and we said, okay, there will be probably 2 main groups. One of those that wants to just to comply with the regulation, and the second one who wants to leverage all the potential. That's why over here there is a connector ensuring just the compliance with eIDAS 2, and the gateway that allows customers and the banks to utilize the full potential that the eIDAS 2 offers. Now move on to the PSR. For the context of the situation, the customer actually wanted sort of to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because they realized, okay, we got here the UDIF, which is a method of strong customer authentication, and we got the PSR that requires an alternative method of strong customer authentication. So what if we decided to use UDIF as a legal alternative to PSR, legal alternative strong customer authentication method? Could we do that? And you probably know that no, it cannot be an alternative method, because at this point and at this state, the UD wallet heavily relies on smartphones. So it cannot be the alternative for PSR. So what could be? And again, being the same salesman, I have the solution in my pocket. And since we do have our own personalization line, I can offer here, or I offer them let's take a look at the smart cards. Let's take a look at USB tokens, an alternative method that doesn't have to be necessarily used just as a means of SCA, but also could be used as methods of for qualified signature. Moreover, we do provide them with the distribution services, the personalization, and with the software, all necessary. I started this section with the PSR that the customer wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and there is still possibility to do that. Because you have problem with connector and gateway, and if you decide to implement UDIF and the PSR at the same time, you could probably look for a consolidated solution, meaning that that as a bank you find one solution that solves all your or both problems. You can integrate PSR and UDIF at the same time, and moreover, your customers doesn't have to know a thing because they will not see it. It's only on the back end. And lastly, I'm going to the AMLR. And again, for the context of the situation, the customer, financial institution, wanted to have AML-checked customers onboarded to their services, but there was a catch. Some of the customers will be actually non-EU customers. And there's obviously the requirement of AMLR to store the data for 5 years from 2027. So how to approach this with and providing the customers maximum comfort? Well, one thing is that the AMLR, and there's where the legislations get intertwined, is that AMLR actually requires to obtain the data from qualified trust services, so from some sort of QTSP, meaning that if you have the chance, you must offer the customers some sort of connection to the European Digital Identity Gateway. But what if there are the customers that are non-EU? And this is where our friends from IDENT come in place, because what we did, we chose a solution, and we discussed that with IDENT, that offered our financial institution to scan the data, scan the documents, have the OCR, have the data gotten from the ID document, and then we cross-match it with the face verification, and we got the data that they could store for the 5 years. And they still have the power to decide whether they will keep the data or not. So what are the key takeaways that I wanted to convey today is the time is ticking. There's not much time, and whatever the legislation you are coping with, and you will be coping with, start now. Start as soon as possible. If you have, for instance, if you are a bank, by the way, how many from you are from the bank? Raise your hands. All right, okay. So if you have to tackle 2 legislations at the same time, you should probably look for some sort of consolidated solution. We all know how long does it take to prepare an RFI, RFP, get through the process. So maybe with that limited time, you should look for a consolidated solution that will save you time, resources, and shift responsibility to somebody else. And maybe just you don't have to do it everything alone. Somebody already has the solution, and it could be us. I'm willing to discuss all of that at our booth, which is located at the end of the corridor. And for the time being, thank you very much. And since we are going for lunch, I believe smacznego.
Thank you so much. Amazing introduction, actually.